Tonight's Marion City Council meeting could mark the conclusion of one of the most closely scrutinized appointment processes in recent city history, as council members are expected to select a new representative for the 4th Ward seat during the 6:30 p.m. meeting at City Hall. The vacancy process began earlier this spring following the departure of the ward's previous council representative. In April, City Council voted to appoint Sean Wilson to the seat, describing him during public meetings as a Republican candidate qualified to fill the vacancy. However, questions surrounding Wilson's eligibility emerged almost immediately after the appointment. Public concerns centered on two primary issues: Wilson's employment with the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT, and his voter registration status. Residents raised questions about whether a classified ODOT employee could legally serve in partisan elected office under Ohio Revised Code 124.57, which limits political activity for classified state employees. Additional scrutiny followed after publicly available voter records appeared to list Wilson as an unaffiliated voter rather than a Republican. Emails exchanged between residents, City Council leadership, the Marion County Board of Elections, and the city law director revealed growing confusion over how the appointment had been handled and whether council had properly verified Wilson's qualifications before the vote. In correspondence responding to public inquiries, Marion City Council President Mary Stoneburner confirmed that Wilson ultimately resigned after discussions involving ODOT and legal concerns related to his employment status. At the same time, debate intensified regarding party affiliation requirements for the 4th Ward vacancy. During council meetings, members stated the seat was required to remain Republican because the previous officeholder was a Republican. But the Marion County Board of Elections later clarified that Wilson was still officially listed in the voter registration system as unaffiliated at the time of his appointment, despite having recently pulled a Republican primary ballot. The Board of Elections also stated publicly that Marion City Council had not consulted the board prior to the appointment, contradicting statements made during council discussions suggesting election officials had been involved. As criticism mounted, residents called for greater transparency, accountability, and clarification regarding the legal process used to fill the vacancy. Questions were also raised about whether political connections may have influenced the original appointment process. City Law Director Mark Russell later confirmed that council retains authority under Ohio law and council rules to fill the vacancy through a roll call vote of sitting council members, while encouraging qualified 4th Ward residents to express interest in serving. Now, weeks after the resignation that reignited debate over transparency and procedure inside Marion City Hall, council is once again expected to cast votes tonight to determine who will represent 4th Ward residents moving forward. At this point, the only name that has been publicly and actively mentioned as pursuing the appointment is community advocate Krista Halloran, whose supporters describe her as a thoughtful and well-rounded candidate focused on transparency, communication, and public trust. As residents prepare to attend tonight's meeting, many will be watching closely to see whether City Council can restore confidence in the process, and whether council members will ultimately select the candidate they believe is best prepared to represent the people of Marion's 4th Ward.